Hey bookworms, welcome back to the channel and welcome if you're new. Today I'll be recommending books that have water settings. So I'm taking part in a readathon in June that is called Once Upon a Readathon Treasure Island, and this runs throughout the month of June. It's very relaxed to other readathons that I've done, and that's the reason why I'm here today recommending water setting books, because it's a way of gaining extra points during readathon. For every book that you read during this readathon you get 100 points, but then there's ways to earn extra points. For example, if you're a mascot, if you like the mascot, so for example I'm Merfolk, and if I read a book that has a mermaid or siren in, that's a way to get extra points. There are other ways as well, I will link all below, but one of the other ways was reading books with water settings, and that's why I decided to recommend some books that would help if you're taking part in a readathon, or maybe you're just looking for books that have that sort of setting. Then you're going to enjoy this video. I've got romance, I've got fantasy, thrillers and mysteries, so I've got all different kinds of genres here for everybody, just in case you might like thrillers instead of romances. Well, I've got you covered. Let's jump straight into it, starting off with romance. And the first book on this list is honestly so perfect for this setting, because it's just, and it is one of my favourite books, and that is Float Plan by Trish Dollar. In this book, we find a character called Annie who has decided to go sailing on this yacht that her and her fiance had planned to do together and do this journey, but unfortunately he commits suicide. So she's now doing this journey alone. However, she's not very good when it comes to sailing, like she's not the best at it, so she ends up hiring a guy called Kian to help her with sailing the boat. And this book is honestly absolutely stunning. The setting of it being on this yacht in the middle of the ocean, there are so many beautiful moments in this book just regarding like the setting. They get to go to all these beautiful tropical islands as well, and I just think that if you've not read this book and you like romance, read this one, especially if you're taking part in a readathon, because it's perfect. Do check, obviously there is the content warning for the fact that the suicide is mentioned at the beginning of the book, and this is definitely a slow burn contemporary romance, but like the setting is just like, oh, I want to read this again so badly. It's so good. Next up is another book that I read this one a couple years ago, and this one is set on a cruise ship, and that is Shipped by Angie Hockman. This is sort of an enemies to lovers romance, and both these characters are kind of competing for the same promotion, and they have to I think it's like this presentation thing, but they have to go onto this cruise ship which is like owned by their company in order to do this. I think research it and kind of just be a guest, as well as like trying to get information for the presentation. And it's just a lot of fun because we're on this cruise, we've got a lot of cute funny moments, the characters are awesome, and we have a lot of moments as well where they get to disembark from the cruise and experience stuff on islands as well. And I just think cruise ship is perfect. Next up on this list is a book that I've not read yet, so I don't know too much about it, and that is a book called The Wedding Crasher. I'm picking this one, we've got water on the cover, and also I believe this book is set on an island that is surrounded by water, so I just feel like this works. I don't know too much about it, I just know it's about a character who goes to this wedding, and I believe there's some history there. I don't know, but I love this cover, and when I did first pick it up, it sounded good. I want to go into this one not knowing too much about it, so yeah, I feel like this one can work. Next up is a book that most of you probably heard about, because this book was super popular last year, and that is Every Summer After. This book is set at a lake. We follow two different timelines. We follow the character, our main female character, where she's younger and she's making friends with this boy across the lake who has a cabin there, and then we're following them when they're older. She's coming back there because the parents of the boy that she used to be friends with passed away, so she's come back to show her respect, but something's happened along the way where these characters have drifted apart, and we sort of learn that as we go on. And honestly, this is first of all, this is the perfect summer read, and it's at a lake, so it's perfect. Following the same author here and being the last book on the romance list is a book that came out, I believe it came out in May. We're currently in May, I think this book came out on the 2nd of May, and I had planned to read this one. I was going to read it soon, but then I was like, well, now I've got to keep it for the readathon, and that is Meet Me at the Lake. I don't know too much about this book other than it's set at a lake and it's written by the same author. I absolutely love that book, so I am hoping that I'm going to love this one too. Next up we have a YA book. I only have one YA book on this list, but I mean, just in case you like YA, I haven't read this one either, so maybe I'll read it for the readathon, and that is Where the River Takes Us. I believe that this is about this character, this young boy and his friends who are trying to go and get this photo or something so they can get this money. I have no idea. Big cat sighting reward 100 for clear exclusive photo. So I think that's what's going on. Him and his friends are going to go and try and get this photo of this big cat so they can get the money, but it's also for the main character got to keep him and his brother together and he can get like this money or something. I don't know, it sounds really, really cute. River's in the title, so I am assuming that this book's going to take place around water, so I feel like this could work. Next up is thrillers. Honestly, I love thrillers. I gotta take a bit of a break from them because I read a lot of thrillers during the month of April because of the readathon. But let's jump into the first one, and that is Castaways by Lucy Clarke. This is about an airplane that crashes onto this island, and these characters are all pretty much stranded here until how it comes. It's literally a castaway book. There is a lot of action in this book, there's a lot of drama, a lot of twists. This is so fun. We also have 2 timelines, so we're also following like the main character's sister, who's like now trying to find out what happened to Plane, what happened to her sister, and trying to track down if she's still alive or not. So we do get that, and then we also get the point of view of the woman on the island and trying to cope with this and just trying to like ration all the food. And she's also looking after like a little baby in this book, which, oh my god, I cared so much for this baby. This is high drama, there's action, there are twists. It's a really like addictive read. This was a 5-star read for me. I really loved it. Then we have a book called Her Dark Lies by J.T. Ellison, and this is about a character. I literally read this so long ago. I think that she's going to this island in order to get married, but this island's literally out in the middle of the sea, and then this bad storm happens and they're kind of like stranded on it, but then all the weird stuff starts to happen. She starts to see like which looks like a window, like someone up on the mountains when no one else is supposed to be, and there's just a lot of creepy stuff. I think stuff starts happening as well inside the house to her actual items, and this is really fun. Oh my god, I read this so long ago, but yeah, it's kind of a creepy little setting on a isolated island. Things are going crazy. Sticking to the theme of island here, and we have The Island by Adrienne McGinty. This is again about a family who go to Australia for a holiday, and they want to see like some wildlife. They get offered a chance to go to this island that is owned by this family. They say that, you know, you've got 40 minutes, but then you've got to come back. But things don't quite go to plan because they end up getting into a bit of trouble, and now this family who own this island are trying to hunt them down. Things get crazy quickly. Something happens to the dad, and then it's left to his wife, his young wife, to try and get herself and his children to safety without getting killed. And wow, this book has so much action. It is fast paced, it's a page turner. I freaking loved this book. It's so good. It's just really eerie because they're literally stuck on this island and they can't swim across because they're sharks. So it's definitely got that like high tense feeling to it as well. The final thriller on this list is a book by Mr. Riley Sager, and that is The House Across the Lake. It's literally a book set on a lake, and we're from this woman who is kind of an alcoholic, so you can't really trust her, but she keeps watching like the house across the lake from her, and she believes that the man there is something to do with his wife's disappearance. So she's like kind of trying to investigate that, but like I said, because she is an alcoholic, you just don't know if you can trust her and what she's saying is true. But this is so good, and the ending, some people hate it, some people love it. I loved it. I loved the little twist at the ending, but I have heard some people say that they didn't love it, but for me, I actually really enjoyed it. And next up, for those of you who like to sow some crime, sow some mysteries, we have mysteries. Starting off with Queen Agatha Christie with Death on the Nile. I've not read this book yet. I'm planning to do a video where I read her books for the first time. Murder happens on steamboat. Is that a steamboat? A yacht? A cruise? Whatever it is. Murder happens. They're all stuck on this boat trying to figure out what's going on. I don't know much about that. If you open your heart to evil, evil will come. It will enter in and make its home within you. And then next up on the mystery list, we have A Fatal Crossing by Tom Hindle. This is a story set on this like sort of like a boat, bit like Titanic, bit like cruises back in the day. It is set back in 1924, and as the crew sets sail, a body gets found, and it's up to our main character who works on the cruise to team up with his like detective, and he's trying to solve what's going on and what's happening. This has got a lot of like interviews where you're interviewing like the suspects and you're trying to put it all together. I feel like the setting though of being set on this like cruise made it so much more fun, because I don't know, I really like the setting. I hadn't really read like many books that are set on a cruise ship, and the murder mystery side of this, and knowing that there's like this countdown to them having to solve this, because when a cruise docks and their friend disembarks, you might not catch the killer, and there's a lot of cool stuff that happens in this. I will say I didn't love the ending though, but I still had a really good time reading this book though. And then another, I'm just going to pull it here somewhere, and that is Lying in the Deep. This is about a character whose ex fiance and ex-friend have basically hooked up and betrayed her, so she decides to go on a journey onto this cruise ship and just embark on travelling and going to all these different cities. Oh my god, Kitty. So yeah, she basically decides to go on this cruise, embark on a journey, and then she discovers that the couple are also on this cruise, and her obsession kind of spirals and somebody ends up murdered. I am so excited for this book. I've actually got it coming tomorrow and I really wanted to read it like this month, but I think I'm going to keep it for June because I can get some extra points from my team, you know? Next up, we are going to move on to fantasy, which I feel like is most people's favourite, to be honest. And the first two books here I have are Daughter of a Pirate King and Daughter of a Siren Queen. Both of these books are perfect if you're on the pirate team. You've got a character who's a pirate, that's some extra points as well on top of the extra points for reading a water-based book. And this one's got a siren in it, so again, extra points. I've read this book, I have not read the sequel yet. I feel like this readathon could possibly make me pick this one up. We're pretty much following this really bawdy character who's the daughter of a pirate king and she gets kidnapped, but it's sort of like all planned because she's trying to find something on the enemy ship. This book's got a lot of action, there's a lot of fun, the main character's so fun, like she's so quirky and different and ballsy. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, I definitely think I'm going to pick up the second one. Another book that it's been sitting on my shelf for a while. I bought it for another video and then I ended up not doing that video, and that is To Kill a Kingdom, which I believe is like a darker Little Mermaid retelling. I mean, this is set in the ocean. Not only that, it's still following a siren mermaid. More point. And I have seen a few people saying that they're going to read this one during a readathon, hoping that I'll be able to really read this one with someone as well, or with a few different people. It'd be fun. I actually have this on audio for the library. I think it comes out at the end of this month, so that kind of works out perfectly, just because sometimes it is easier to listen to an audio, especially when you're really busy. And then the final fantasy book and the final book on this list is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axel. Oh, I'm butchering that. This book I read, I think last year, and it's the perfect book to read for this readathon. Like the perfect book. It's also just so beautiful, like the way I think it's described and how everyone lives underwater is just incredible. It's such a fantastic read and you can really get pulled into it and imagine it. We're following this character who lives in this like sort of village where each year I think they sacrifice someone, and I believe it's her brother's fiance who's going to be sacrificed, and she decides to sacrifice herself instead. So she's at the bottom of the ocean in this world where she can breathe underwater because it's literally this world underneath the ocean. I don't really know what else to say about it other than it was just so beautifully told, and the setting was one of the most beautiful settings ever. So if you definitely haven't read this one, whether you're taking part in the readathon or not, pick this book up, read it. I mean, any of these books, if you've not read them, yeah, and you want watery settings, then hopefully this will help you out. But that's my list of books with watery settings. Hopefully if you are taking part in the readathon, that's helped you out. Hopefully if you aren't taking part in the readathon but you're looking for books that have that setting, you might pick out some of these. Let me know in the comments if I've missed any out that you've read. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and until next time, bye!